Under an ordinary Swiss apartment building, Mila finds a door that looks as if it belongs on a submarine. The corridor around it is completely normal. There are bicycles, winter tires, storage boxes, and a single light hanging from the ceiling. But this door is made of thick steel. Its locking wheel is heavy. The concrete around it is far thicker than any normal basement wall. Behind the door is a room built for war. And the strange part is that this is not a secret military base. It is someone's basement. Switzerland has around 370,000 private and public shelters. Together, they contain roughly 9 million protected places. That is approximately one shelter place for every person in the country. There are local differences and a few remaining gaps, but nationally, the basic promise is extraordinary. If the worst happens, almost everyone should have somewhere to go. So why did one of the safest, wealthiest, and most politically stable countries on Earth build an underground refuge for nearly its entire population? From the surface, the idea feels almost absurd. Swiss streets are quiet, trams glide past flower boxes, children walk to school, cafes open beneath church towers, and trains leave with almost suspicious precision. But below apartment blocks, schools, hospitals, offices, and public buildings, another Switzerland has been waiting for decades. It has blast doors, emergency exits, air filters, folding bunks, and rooms that most residents barely notice during normal life. To understand why, we have to return to the years after the Second World War. The war had shown that civilians were no longer safely separated from the battlefield. Entire cities could be attacked from the air. Then, nuclear weapons introduced a threat that no mountain range or neutral border could reliably stop. Switzerland could remain outside a war. Radioactive particles would not care. During the 1950s, that uncomfortable fact became part of Swiss public debate. Civil protection was no longer treated as a collection of local emergency plans. It became a national system designed around one enormous question: how could an entire civilian population be protected? In 1959, Swiss voters approved a civil protection article in the federal constitution. The Civil Protection Act that came into force in 1963 then laid the foundation for the modern shelter network. The solution was not to build only a few gigantic underground cities. Instead, Switzerland distributed protection. Shelters were placed close to the people who might need them, beneath houses, apartment blocks, schools, municipal buildings, hospitals, and workplaces. This is why many post-war Swiss buildings contain that unusually heavy basement door. A small private shelter may provide space for only a handful of people. A shelter beneath an apartment block may hold several dozen. A large public shelter under a school or administrative building may accommodate hundreds. But there is an important myth to correct. Not every Swiss house has its own private bunker. The legal principle is about shelter places, not individual houses. When a municipality has too few protected spaces, the owners of new residential buildings can be required to construct, equip, and maintain a shelter. If a shelter is not built because of technical reasons or because enough places already exist nearby, a replacement contribution can be paid instead. Under the current system, that contribution can be 1,400 Swiss francs for each required shelter place. Municipalities can use the money to build public shelters, renew older ones, and maintain the network. So the system works like a balance. One building adds protected spaces directly. Another contributes to a shared shelter nearby. Cantons and municipalities keep updating their plans as neighborhoods grow, buildings change, and populations move. Now Mila steps through the steel door. Nothing inside feels luxurious. The room is narrow, cool, and deliberately simple. Its strength comes from the reinforced concrete shell surrounding the floor, walls, and ceiling. The blast door closes the main entrance. A separate emergency exit or escape tunnel offers another route if rubble blocks the stairs above. Then there is the ventilation system. Outside air enters through a protected intake. It passes an explosion protection valve, a pre-filter, a ventilation unit, and a gas filter. The system can create slightly higher pressure inside the shelter, helping prevent contaminated outside air from leaking through small gaps. If the electricity fails, some ventilation systems can still be operated manually. Mila grips the crank and begins to turn. It is not dramatic technology. That is the point. The system was designed to be standardized, understandable, repairable, and ready after years of sitting quietly in a basement. The shelters are intended to improve survival against the effects of armed conflict. Their reinforced structure, filtered air, and emergency exits can also be useful in certain nuclear, biological, chemical, natural, or human-made disasters. But a bunker is not magic. These rooms are built to protect against a range of indirect effects and nearby conventional explosions. They are not guaranteed to survive every possible direct strike. The correct idea is protection, not invincibility. That difference matters, because the popular image of a bunker is often an underground fortress filled with food, machines, and endless living space. Most Swiss shelters look nothing like that. During everyday life, they may be storage rooms, basements, workshops, playrooms, archives, or club spaces. Mila is more likely to find skis and cardboard boxes than emergency rations. A public shelter might be used as a changing room or meeting space. This peaceful use is allowed, but the protective parts cannot simply disappear. The blast door must still close. The ventilation system must remain accessible. The emergency exit cannot become a forgotten cupboard. Owners are responsible for basic maintenance, while authorities periodically inspect shelters and their technical condition. If the security situation changes, the room must be able to change with it. When the authorities order preparation, a shelter has to be cleared and made operational within 5 days. The bicycles leave. The boxes are moved. Folding bunks and simple emergency toilets are installed. Ventilation is checked. What looked like an ordinary storage room becomes a temporary living space. But who goes into which shelter? Residents are not expected to choose the nearest heavy door or argue over empty bunks. Cantons and municipalities plan the allocation of shelter places and update those plans regularly. The exact assignments are normally announced only when the security situation makes them necessary. Official instructions may arrive through municipal channels, radio, sirens, or alert Swiss. When an occupation order is given, people move to the shelter assigned by the local authorities or civil protection organization, and they do not arrive empty-handed. The population is expected to bring personal documents, essential medicine, food, water, and a battery-powered radio. Switzerland's National Emergency Supply Guidance recommends keeping provisions for about 1 week, including 9 liters of water per person. That does not mean everyone is expected to remain underground for 7 days. A shelter stay may last only a few hours, or it may continue for several days, depending on the danger and official instructions. The emergency supply exists because the first stage of a crisis is usually the moment when outside systems are under the most pressure. There is also a very human question. What happens to pets? Shelter places are planned for people, and the rooms are not specifically designed for animals. In individual cases, a pet may be possible depending on the shelter, its occupancy, and the animal. But it is not an automatic guarantee. That small detail reveals what these shelters really are. They are not comfortable underground homes. They are a standardized compromise between cost, space, maintenance, and survival. Today, Switzerland is not building this network because disaster is expected tomorrow. Much of the work now focuses on maintaining existing shelters, replacing aging technical equipment, closing local gaps, and keeping plans usable as the population changes. The bunker beneath Mila's apartment may spend another 40 years holding bicycles. Or one day, its strange steel door may suddenly become the most important object in the building. Switzerland's underground network reflects the national habit: prepare early, distribute responsibility, standardize the solution, and maintain it even when it is rarely seen. The country above ground looks peaceful, partly because uncomfortable possibilities were planned for below it. Would having a shelter place make you feel safer? Or would knowing what it was built for make you uneasy?